Hello, gamers, and welcome to Xbot and Pony. My name is Phil,
My name is Nick.
and this week we had an interesting development with xCloud where Apple decided that they were going to put certain restrictions on them, and Microsoft went, nah, I'm good. I'm out of here. I'm not in on this because this sounds seriously dodgy. Nick, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so obviously it all started with Microsoft coming out and promoting the Samsung Galaxy phone, and I guess this is another war that we don't really talk about. There's Apple versus Android or iOS versus Android war. There's a lot of this is my preferred device type thing. Um, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of Xbox fans that only do Apple, and you can see from the results that they're not too happy. So Apple's stance on the matter is they want to review or have every single individual title or every single game come through individually and be rated and tested and whatever their guidelines are. So individually review,
Wow. Okay.
which is it makes sense. Like it's not out of the question. Um, we also know they take about 30% profit on everything that anybody releases on iOS. It's a big chunk. My thing here and a lot of other people's thing is, hang on a second, why would wouldn't you come to some sort of agreement that we can, these games are reviewed and rated elsewhere. I'm sure there's plenty of 50 and 1 games on the Apple iOS store that they don't go individually, chess, checkers. They're not going to review each individual one of those games. So they're not the only one they blocked. They also blocked Stadia. They've come out and said the same thing. They've blocked Google from going on there. And Facebook
I mean,
games.
that audience is huge, man. What are they thinking?
I know, man. All six people. All
I mean,
six.
that's just leaving money on the table.
It's just, yeah. I mean, what are they thinking? Apple.
Well, what
The
is
third
it?
person. The third person was Facebook Gaming. So they've
Yes, you're
finally
right.
got theirs onto the thing, and they've come out and said that Apple are just horrendous to work with.
Mm.
Even though they're currently working with them, they're still pretty straightforward and said it was the hardest thing we've had to get approved. Whereas with Microsoft, Android, anyone, Facebook Gaming, done. That's just like that. There's no. So what? You put your tinfoil hat on. It probably comes back to Apple not wanting to do that, but Apple wanting to protect their own profit, and
Yeah.
that would be Apple Games.
Mm.
If you think about it, they make a lot of money from Apple Games. They just do. People are going to buy those kind of things. They're going to subscribe to those kind of things. If both xCloud, which in beta had hundreds of thousands of users, and I think South Korea was one of the biggest countries to use it.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And they just advertised the Samsung Galaxy with Game Pass on a full TV commercial in South Korea. So they're full steam ahead, because if you don't know, we didn't mention that, it actually launches in 22 countries on the 15th of September. So it's going out of beta to the public on the 15th of September in 22 countries. And Australia isn't one of those countries.
I wonder why.
We don't have enough 5G around. We need some more 5G. If people didn't stop destroying the 5G towers, we'd be fine.
Dude, 5G causes COVID-19. No, it doesn't. No, it damn well doesn't.
It really doesn't.
It's bats who flew too close to the 5G towers,
Exactly.
who then were caught and put into soups that caused COVID.
Exactly. No. I believe that more than I believe the 5G tower.
So ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Just think. Anyway, hopefully we'll get in Australia soon. In the meantime, most people are pretty happy with it. Yes, it's not perfect. It's like any cloud streaming service. You're going to get hiccups. But Microsoft have put it into Game Pass for free. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, you just get xCloud for free. Very clever, because they want to sell Game Pass. That's what they want to sell. They're not worried about selling hardware or anything like that at the moment. It's all about services, DLC. That's what's making profits. So that's where the industry's going. And we'll talk about that in another video with games as service as well. But it looks like things like Game Pass / Netflix are going to do it. So this xCloud turns Game Pass into Netflix. It now is Netflix, because you are streaming on the go. Now it's stuck in just Samsung mode. So you have all these people, and there's so many big people in media, big people in gaming, just gaming fans, why there's a petition going to Apple. Please change your stance. Please work with Microsoft. I don't want to own an Android. And then you've got all these other people saying, well, I'm going to give it till Christmas, and if I don't have Game Pass on my iPhone, I'm selling my iPhone. So is this going to cost? And I'm not. This is not a small group. This is a big group of people saying, I think I have to change to an Android phone, but I don't want to. I love my Apple, but I have to. And then they're pushing the Note 20 with Samsung, exclusive deal with Microsoft. So after Apple became trouble, it looks like Microsoft's gone, well, hang on. Samsung, do you want to strike up a deal? And they have 3 months Game Pass Ultimate with all the new Samsung phones. So there's a lot of people going, well, I'll just get a Note 20. That's it. I'll get a Note 20 and I'll sell my iPhone. I'll get most of my money back on my iPhone. You know, phones hold value these days. So, you know, you asked before when we were discussing earlier today, does this affect Microsoft? Of course it does. Apple does have a chunk in the whole world. It's 30%. So it's not a small chunk. A lot of people think it's more because in America it is a lot more. It's about 60% in America to 40% Android. But worldwide, especially Asian countries, they're not too fond on the Apple brand, I guess. And you got to remember, Apple does lock you into iTunes. It does lock you into their ecosystem. You're locked into their ecosystem. You don't really have options. You have to do what they want you to do. Whereas with Android, it's pretty much an open platform. You can do what you want, MP3s, images, stuff like that. You can do what you want. Take those two things away, they're both pretty much the same product. They both do the exact same thing. We make phone calls and we send messages to each other and we get on social media. They're not very different to each other. So I think this will hurt Apple more in the long term with, what do we got? We've got 10 million Game Pass subscribers. Let's say in the next 5 years that grows to 20, 30, and they still haven't jumped on board. Does that affect their business more? Do people stop buying Apple because they just want to play Game Pass? I had a friend say, that's silly. Who wants to play Xbox on a small phone? Well, the Note 20 is the size of a Switch, and there's 60 million people out there playing Switch games. Yeah. And how many people play games on their phone and they don't own a gaming console at all? They just play games on their phone. So if you can just boot it up and play...
my students, man, that's how they play. Some of them might have a PS4 or an X1 at home, but where they actually socialize with their friends is through mobile gaming. Like all of them, like pretty universal.
How many people own a phone in the world?
Yeah.
So Microsoft have enhanced their business by selling Game Pass to people with a mobile phone. It's genius, really. You're not limited to a computer. You're not limited to a TV. So some person went out and bought a cheap Android Fire Stick and put Game Pass on it and plugged it into his TV. Perfect. So you don't need an Xbox console. You just
maybe I should try and find an old like Sony Ericsson or something like that, and then
that might do the job
on my Sony phone.
Well, people are guessing that Microsoft will most likely release their own stick. It'll be a Game Pass stick, and you plug it into your computer monitor, your TV, and it boots up. And you do not need an Xbox One or an Xbox Series S or an Xbox Series X. You just plug it in, use your PlayStation controller, PS4 controller if you want, and play your PS5 third-party games. There's options. There's so many options to do it, and I'm personally not ready for that kind of thing in the gaming industry. I know you're not. I know we love our physical games, and I don't want a streaming future. But unfortunately, that's it. That is
where it's heading, isn't it? Yeah.
And I don't know. Now you have this information. What do you think about it? Do you think this could hurt Apple in the long run if Game Pass takes off and is popular?
You know, like to be fair, so like I've got a Galaxy S8, right? So it's a few years old now, and it's got a big old crack across the screen, and it's starting to slow down. And I've got to charge it at least twice a day, sometimes 3. You know, if I'm using it extensively, you know. And my mind has been, well, maybe it is time to upgrade. And I'm looking at that and going, well, that kind of makes sense because I can only afford one next-gen console. Right?
Yeah, most people can.
I can't afford two. No, I can't afford to drop the equivalent of like more than $1,000 US on 2 consoles. I just don't have that kind of cash. So maybe if I have an upgrade my phone and that Game Pass is there, that's a good alternative. That means that
It
I
is.
can have my PS5, but also experience what you guys are experiencing,
Yeah.
via Game Pass. So, yes, even as a Sony player, that is an appealing move.
Well, it does. And then it
Yeah.
opens you up in the future to be able to get an Android stick for $20, plug that into your TV,
Done.
your PC. So you'll
Yep.
have Game Pass on PC, Game Pass on your TV, Game Pass on your phone.
Yep.
You're in that ecosystem. And that kind of says to you, well, then I don't need an iPhone, because you were umming and ahhing as well. Do I go iPhone? Do I go, I had an iPhone. I loved it. And then I just got to a stage where I went, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going Android. I'm going to try it. I'm over it. It broke, and I was really cranky because I just fixed it, and my iPhone broke again. It literally fell from my pocket 2 foot to the floor on carpet and died a second time. And I just went, no, I'm done. I'm done. And it's a silly thing to change, but I'll never go back, because
No, me neither.
I don't want to be forced to use iTunes. I want to be able to copy my music and my pictures and do what I want. I love that difference with the Android thing. And I understand why my dad was Apple. He loved it because it was simple.
Yeah.
It was very easy. It was very straightforward. And I get that. I understand that. Apple is not a bad product. I'm not saying that at all. I just prefer Android myself. So it will probably convince a lot of people to go, well, you know what? I'll get a Note 20. If I get 3 months Game Pass with that, that's $50 off that anyway, straight up. Or Game Pass Ultimate. That's $50 off that straight up. And if you already own an Xbox as well, you think, well, hang on, I don't have Game Pass, but I'll get this phone, and then I'll have 3 months Game Pass Ultimate. I can use it on my PC, my Xbox, and then I can see if Game Pass is actually worth its value. So
it's good
they're
timing.
tackling things and giving people options, and it makes sense. It makes sense. But I think it will hurt Apple if Game Pass gets more traction. I think it will hurt Apple. From what I can see online, it's so far, there's a few people, of course, saying, I will never ever buy a Galaxy or an Android. I'll just won't play mobile gaming. But mobile gaming is huge. It's massive. People have been walking around with these little add-ons. There's a Razer attachment. Did I show you that Hitachi?
Yeah.
It turns your phone into a Switch. It's not perfect. It's got some issues. People are saying it's sold out completely.
There you go.
So Game Pass isn't even out yet, and they've sold out of their initial allocation. One guy posted and said he went to his local shop, picked it up for $80 US. The guy ordered 50, 4 turned up.
Wow.
And that's just a little, he said, this is just a normal little tiny gaming shop that ordered 50 because he thought this will be big. He got 4 out of his initial allocation, and then 46 were on back order. So it's popular. It's going to be pretty big. People are going to be playing it. I've tested out the game preview streaming from the console to my phone in Australia, which wasn't available, but I made it work anyway. And it worked reasonably okay. There's a few glitches, frame rates and that. Obviously, it depends on what games. You're not going to be able to play Call of Duty streaming. We know that. But simple games, puzzle games, even single-player adventure games, it's not going to matter if the screen glitches a little bit when you're out in public. It's not going to be a big deal. So it'll all depend on 5G data, how much the data uses on Game Pass, stuff like that. Probably wouldn't be able to use Microsoft Flight Simulator. That game actually uses data as you're playing it, because it is downloading data. I think it was about 4 gigs in about 6 hours or something. So that's pretty hefty.
It is pretty full on,
especially in Australia. So it's not something you're probably going to be playing on your phone, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me if that game actually doesn't work on xCloud. They don't bring it to xCloud. So there's going to be limitations there, but again, very strange for Apple to do this. But I think we can see why they're blocking both those companies.
If Apple's not interested, maybe it means it's coming to Switch.
Well, you never know.
They'll be looking for someone new to partner with.
Microsoft's happy. They all said they put it on Switch and PlayStation. They don't care. If more people are going to use it. Don't care.
All right. Well, what do you guys think? Is this a really stupid move on Apple's part? Should they turn around and work with Microsoft? Or is this actually really working in Samsung and Google's favor? Are you going to give it a go? Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, guys, like, subscribe, and let us know if it's actually convinced you to go from Apple to an Android phone. It's very interesting to see what the talk is at the moment, and maybe Apple will change their mind and come to some sort of agreement, but it doesn't look likely with both companies releasing statements on the situation and both being very, where they are. But it'd be nice to hear everyone's comments. Let us know below, and we'll get talking about it later on and see where it goes. Hopefully before the end of the year, we'll get some more answers.
Give me a version on Nokia 3210. That's what I want.
Would add everything, didn't it? Snake and everything else.
Yeah, they're indestructible. They'd be amazing. All right, guys.
Weapon.
Yes.
See you
Bye.
guys.